teacher at Eastside High School.
Nice. Eastside Rams.
A father. I just found out, man. Congratulations, my man. Hey,
Awesome.
a father. He's been a father of one, but now he's introducing another one into the world in a couple of months, man. A couple of months. Just found that out last night. So, yeah, man. A husband, good man, full of wisdom. So I'm actually, I just want to hear what's on his mind today. I want to hear him talk. Yeah.
All right, so cool, Mr. Demps. I want to thank you first of all for coming by, man. I really appreciate it. I know I've seen your face throughout the years, man. I never actually got to meet you. I want you to kind of describe, make sure we do you justice here. Everything that you're involved in, because it sounds like you do a lot, man. I see you got my brother's keepers shirt on. Shout out to my homie Javon, man.
That's my guy, man.
Yeah, good guy there. Yeah. And I know you're a teacher as well as a child advocate.
Right.
Can you kind of just I think I've probably done it for you, but can you kind of just give a description of yourself real quick, man, all the things that you're involved in, just in case we're missing anything?
Well, I mean, I would describe myself as a lifetime educator.
Yes, sir.
Someone that not only went through the public education school system, matriculated to the community college, then into the university system, and then got involved in working in education as soon as I graduated from the University of Florida.
Let's talk about that journey a little bit right there. You born and raised right around here?
Born and raised in Perry, Florida, man. Small town
Perry.
up by Tallahassee.
Yeah, man.
850, man.
A lot of rednecks up there.
Oh, man.
Man. My boy, what's my boy name?
Who? Joe.
Patriots running back.
Oh, Blunt. Oh, yeah,
He's from
man.
up there, right?
Blunt went to high school with me.
Nice. I didn't know you from up that way, man.
Yeah,
Cool. I had a funny story about Perry, but that's an off-the-air conversation right there. All right. So cool. So you grew up in Perry.
Right.
Went to school there. Would you come here to Santa Fe or UF?
Came here to Santa Fe.
Nice.
And then graduated Santa Fe and transferred to Florida.
Nice. And I'm assuming this is all education degrees. And that's
No. Actually, I studied economics, man.
Nice.
I'm an economics major. I got my bachelor's and master's in economics. So I wasn't education at all. I had no.
You gotta tell me about that.
I had no desire to be a teacher or anything, man. That was something that, something had got laid on my heart really young, but I ran away from it as long as I could.
Wow.
Because it was something I just did not want to do. Had no desire to teach nobody kids. I just wanted to teach my own kids.
It's like that calling, brother.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was.
Calling of the educator.
Kind of had to bow down to it, man, and just go ahead and go for it. And ever since I went for it, it's been fun.
That's what's up, man.
It's had its ups and downs, but it's been fun.
Cool. So tell me about that, man, because I'm just really curious about that, because economics is one thing. It's usually have a certain particular type of mind for that,
right?
And then education is something else. You know what I mean? How'd you make that transition?
Well, in college it was all about the numbers.
Okay.
It was all about supply, demand.
Yes, sir.
And I look at education the same way, man. Supply and demand. What's out there for us,
right?
And what people are we putting in place to be able to meet that demand that we have out there.
Right.
And everything that I've done has been more so working towards African American kids. When I worked at the University of Florida, one of my main jobs at the University of Florida was to recruit African American kids to the University of Florida.
Nice.
Then I transitioned over to Santa Fe. Javon was one of my students.
Awesome, nice.
Javon was one of my students.
Shout out to Mike Powell too. I'm sure y'all. I'm sure y'all work together too.
Mike Powell was the one who gave me my job at the University of Florida.
That's my homie right there. I'm sure.
Mike gave me my job at the University of Florida. My first job out of college. Mike
gave
it to
me. That's my homie right there, man. That's the big homie.
And so went to Santa Fe. Worked with MBK at Santa Fe.
Okay.
I was also over new student orientation. So I got real involved in MBK. Like I'm still the #1 supporter for MBK, man. All the kids at East Side, I say, hey man, when you get there, get involved in this.
MBK is awesome.
Not just the males, but when I was out there, we created a program for My Sister's Keeper.
Nice.
So which was a sister program.
I always want to point out. I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off, man. But I always want to point out with MBK is that predated the Obama initiative.
Oh yeah,
I always thought that was a part of that. But you guys were on to something before Obama. So
way before Obama.
Shout out, man. Shout
Obama
out to y'all.
stole Santa Fe name, man. That thing been there way before Obama even.
I wasn't gonna say that, but I'm with that.
Man. They stole the name, man.
That's funny, man. All right, so cool. So hey, I want to kind of talk to you about. First thing I want to talk about is, well. Here we used to do a segment here, Black Educator of the Day. Okay. And we started that from there was a statistic that came out that there was only like 3% of black male teachers. Black male teachers are only 3% of all teachers, which I think a new study just came out and said they're not at 2% now. And at the school that my kids are attend, there is a number of black male teachers, and I always wanted to just give them credit for that. But the problem I ran into was I ran out of black male teachers, so I had to expand it to Black Educator Day. We ended up doing people like from Harriet Tubman to your local teacher at whatever school around here.
Right.
The reason I'm saying that is we always want to highlight the importance of having teachers that come from our community. Mm-hmm. I want you, if you could, kind of hone in on that and say why that's important, if you could.
Well, I work at Eastside High School.
Yes, sir.
And I am one of 3 black male teachers at Eastside.
I had 1 K through 12.
I never had one. Right. I never had 1 K through 12.
Yeah.
I think the only one I remember from grade school was Mr. Jenkins, and he was a substitute teacher.
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
So never had one.
Right.
But we got 3 at Eastside. I'm one of 3. This is only my 2nd year teaching at Eastside.
Nice.
So I haven't been teaching for a very long time.
What you teach
then? Teach economics, government, and U.S. history.
Nice.
So I am able to get back to my economics background a little bit, with the economics class with the seniors. Yeah. So I'm one of 3, but as it comes to the importance of black male teachers, man, I think even with the students, especially the predominantly African American students at Eastside, the kids they just filter to you, man. Right. It's like they just drawn to you, and kids want that role model, somebody they can look up to, somebody they come talk to, somebody if they got some questions they come ask. The girls, they really cling to you because they lacking that father figure, and they want somebody who gonna get on their tail. They want somebody gonna tell them the right thing about these boys and how they treat them, and they want somebody that's gonna guide them, both the male and the female students, man. So I think that I've had that ability to have that impact on students like that. Mr. DeBose in his realm, because he teaches 9th grade, so he catches them at 9th grade as soon as they get to high school. And then Mr. Rhodes, who's in the CTE programs, he catches a lot of African American students and a lot of African American.
Is that the program?
No. It's actually the computer technology program. So they're able to do stuff just like this.
Oh man!
They're able to get on morning news. They do morning news. They do.
That's so awesome.
Anytime we have like an event on campus, they out there with the camcorders. They recording it. So they're able to do a lot of things with the technology that I didn't even get the opportunity to do when I was in school. And they got a black man showing them how to do it.
Does wonders for imaging. I love that.
Right.
I love that there. So can we move on to? I want to talk a little bit about your father as well.
Oh yeah.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about how being a father, how that kind of affects you as a teacher as well, man? Which I think you kind of did.
My fatherhood experience has been pretty. It's kind of been two-sided, And it's been two-sided because of the fact that I've been the father who. Well, first of all, I made my son when my son mom got pregnant when we was in college.
Okay.
Right. That's the first thing. So I wasn't married when my son was born.
Understood.
So that's one side of it. And then now I'm married and I got a daughter on the way, so it's a little different, I wasn't really around much when my son was being, my son mom was pregnant, so I really didn't get to do all the things that I'm able to do now.
Right.
And my son lives in Texas.
Oh man.
So I get my son on Christmas break, spring break, and in the summertime. So it's 2 different total dynamics, and it impacts my teaching in such a way that every day I look at these boys, man, I talk to these boys, all I see is my son.
Right.
Because my son 10.
Right.
And my son gonna be in high school soon, 4 or 5 years, he gonna be in high school, he gonna be entrenched in that thing.
Yes,
and I think about every single day, okay, what is it that I gotta teach him? What is I gotta help shift in his mind to make sure that he's successful at this level? Because all these influences that these kids got, I got to make sure I'm the one constant in his life to make sure that he stays on the right track and he does what he has to do. Not just his education, but socially as well, because so many things in these kids' lives are socially bound and things that they got going on at home. I mean, I see so many young boys who come to school every day, and the work ain't the problem.
Right.
School ain't the problem.
Right.
What's the problem is what's going on outside of school. And they got to deal with those things at school. And they angry about the things that's going on outside of school. And they display that anger at school.
Right.
So
competency isn't an issue.
No, competency is not an issue,
things,
man. Right. A lot of it is societal, man, and the things they got going on at home. And when they get to school, they go to sleep, they act out. And they don't do this because of they don't like school or they don't like the guidance or the discipline at school. They do this because of the things that they got going on outside of school, and that's just the way they express it.
Right.
And I've learned that by talking to a lot of my male students, and I try to take everything that I learned from my students, because I've been asking my girls, my female students, okay, what can I do to be a good father to my unborn daughter?
Wow.
And they've been telling me straight up, this is what you need to do, Mr. Demps. You need to take on dates. You need to buy flowers.
Wow.
You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to hug. You need to tell her she's beautiful every day.
Yeah.
You need to hug on her. You need
That's
to tell
amazing.
her. You need to teach her what her worth is before she get to our age. And I'm like, man, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna take that, because I ask my kids all the time what I should do with my son and with my unborn daughter, because I feel like they got a point of view that I don't have. First of all, with the girls, they got a point of view from, some of them have a point of view from not having their father in their life.
Absolutely.
And what they desire to have from their dad.
Absolutely.
So they telling me, hey, this is what you can give to your daughter that my dad ain't give to me, that I desire.
That's
and
amazing.
Even with that, you know, I try to love on my girls the same way, you know, my high school students the same way I want to love on my daughter.
Understood.
So, man, my fatherhood experience it was up and down at the beginning, but man, it's been a fun up and down roller coaster. Yeah, it's been fun.
We one thing, I think one of the resounding themes around here is we always talk about rearing kids through adolescents and teenagers, and we always talk about on this show here, me and Mr. Ray here, about they will find that father figure. Now, what it is gonna vary, but they gonna find it, whether it be negative or positive. Right. So that we definitely got to give you kudos as a community for stepping in and being because that's a very, very impressionable point of life right there, a time in life. High school, 13, 14, 15. I want to talk a little bit about. I want you to talk a little bit about not just what you see in the school system, but some improvements as far as that we could make in the community. You know what I mean? As far as take it from there.
Well, first thing I can jump into when I'm talking about community wise is we got to get more parent involvement, man. And not just with the, they try to make, we push this issue that, the teachers are not doing their job. We want kids to learn how to do taxes. We want kids to learn how to manage a budget. We want kids to be financially savvy when they leave school. But I think we've lost the sense in the community, in the black community for sure, is that kids, the kids' first teachers, their parents.
Right.
So we got to get that sense back, man. We can't put everything on the school system for the school system to teach our kids, because one thing that the black community and every other community got to understand about the school system is we got certain things we got to do too as teachers. And one of the main things we got to do is, unfortunately, we got to make sure these kids pass the test. Yeah. That's what the state says we got to do. Right. If they say you got to teach to the test, guess what we got to do? We got to teach to the test to make sure these kids are successful and are able to pass the test in order to graduate high school. So, I seen a post on social media the other day where a parent said that her kid couldn't tell time on an analog clock. And
I saw that.
I was like, well, your kid can't tell time on an analog clock. That ain't the teacher's fault. That's your fault. You need to teach your kid how to tell time. Why does that have to be the school's job to teach your kid how to tell time? Like, that's something easy that you can teach your kid at home. Yeah. When it comes to older kids, 16, 17 years old, when it comes to creating a budget, when it comes to doing taxes, that's something that you can teach your kid at home. Yeah. Now, part of the issue in the black community and in the community in general is that we don't know how to keep budgets. Yeah. We don't know how to do our own taxes. So, of course, we can't teach our kids how to do it because we don't know how to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, we got to continue to educate ourselves. I think as a community, as a people, we don't continue our education. And that doesn't mean going to a university or going to a college or going to get a trade. You continue to educate yourself every single day. Rather than being on social media, how about pick up a book and educate yourself on how to do something different? Educate yourself on how to do a budget. Educate yourself on how to do taxes. So you ain't got to go to somebody else to do your tax. You do them on your own. Educate yourself on different things that you can take back and give to your child to help improve your child. Things that the teachers are not, I mean, definitely capable of doing it. Not making any excuse for any teachers, because teachers are definitely capable of doing it. But with the amount of time that we have and the tests that the students have to take, like for instance, testing starts as soon as we get back to school after spring break, right? April 8th. So they don't do these tests at the end of the year. They do them, 2 months left in the year. So therefore, we only got 7 months to get these kids ready. Right. So, I think we got to get more parent involvement. We got to get more people in the community involved in what's going on at the schools. Because you look at the data say, oh, black kids get disproportionately rolled up more than white kids, right? We look at the data, we know what the data says, but first thing you got to know about a school like Eastside is predominantly black. So of course black kids are going to get rolled up more than white kids, because most of the white kids in the IB program, right? When it comes to the black kids as well, when you talk about behavior issues, man, I'm just telling you, man, they show out sometimes. They show out sometimes, and you got some teachers that's just not going to take it, or you got some teachers that's fragile and they can't really handle that type of confrontation with a black kid, especially when the black kid bigger than them. Right. So, and the black kids cursing and yelling, some people can't handle that. I can handle it because I done been there and done it. I got a mama who done cussed me out before.
Right. I think that points to the importance of having people come from our community. Right. But again, I agree totally with the parent involvement part too, because we definitely have to rear our kids to make them be more teachable. Right. A lot of times. Let me ask you real quick. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
34.
34. Perfect. Oh man, I didn't know that. I thought you were a little young. I thought you were younger than me. All right. So the reason I asked that is I want you to kind of talk about some obstacles and issues our kids are facing from our community versus when we grew up. You know what I mean? What they're facing now, opposed to us, because a lot of our parents may not be able to see or notice the things that their kids are facing nowadays.
Well, one of the
first times have changed.
One of the first things that they facing that I never faced was the social media area.
Yeah, that bullying and all that.
Yeah, man, the social media era, man. I mean, we had internet. We was on LimeWire. We was on MySpace. You know?
Black Planet.
Black Planet. We wasn't going live on nothing. You know.
No.
We wasn't able to post no pictures and stuff like that. Have our face all over the internet. And the thing is, these kids today are so open to criticism that we were never open to. Wow. They can criticize you every little word you say, every little thing you do on social media now. Yeah. Whereas when I could just say what I wanted to say when I was a kid, nobody was gonna say it. Right. Even when it comes to what's going on in the schools, man, I could get in trouble with my teacher. I can show out in class if I wanted to. And ain't nobody videotaping me and putting it on the internet about what I said in class or what I did in class. So these kids, their world is totally open for the world to see, whereas my world wasn't, man.
It's all on display.
Yeah, everything that they do is on display. So I think that's one thing. Another thing that I think that is totally different than when I was growing up. When I was growing up, you get in trouble in school, you getting towed up when you get home. My mama wasn't my friend. Yeah. My mama ain't care if I say I ain't like her, we ain't friends no more. Like, man, these kids will tell you straight up, oh, my mama ain't gonna do nothing. My mama my friend. Or if I get into a fight, my mama gonna ask me, did I win? My mama, man, she gonna whoop me first for getting into the fight at school. And then she gonna say, did you beat them up? Yeah. She gonna ask that secondary. That ain't gonna be something that she gonna ask me first. And I think another thing that is different that the kids are facing that I didn't have to face is a lot of these kids are having to raise themselves.
Well, I'm glad you said that. That was gonna be my next point. I think it's upwards of 74% of black babies are born in what they call broken home, which is just unwed mothers. And fatherlessness is a major issue in our community, more than any other community, which is one of the reasons we started the show here. I want you to talk a little bit about not just fatherlessness and the effects of that, but solutions. things we can do as fathers to kind of help this communal issue. You know what I mean? Not just in our household, but take it from there. Man.
Well, I mean, just to preface this, I grew up in a house with a single mom.
That makes sense.
But the thing about it is, if I wanted to see my dad, I knew where to find him at.
Nice.
And he would come around to the house every once in a while and holler at us, and we'll hang out every once in a while, you know. So I knew where to find my dad if I wanted to find him. And, you know, as I got older and I, you know, went to school, I actually started spending a lot more time with my dad after I got, you know, I turned 17, 18 years old. So one thing I would encourage fathers to do is it's not too late.
Right.
It's not too late to build that relationship with your kid. Even if you've been missing the first 15 years, guess what? That young 15-year-old boy still needs you. That young 15-year-old girl still needs
Probably
you.
More than ever.
And that's thing, yeah, right. This is the time they need you the most. And the thing is that a lot of people think that it's too late. Oh, I don't want to deal with my baby mama. And I'm gonna say this as well. And I'm gonna say this because I've experienced this as a father. A lot of men, and I've thought about this myself, don't deal with the kid because they don't want to deal with the mom.
Oh yeah.
And they avoid, in order to avoid dealing with the mom, they just don't deal with the kid. Yeah. But even if you did that, guess what? You can still bounce back and build your relationship with that kid, because even though that kid might be mad with you right now, talking about they don't like you and all this stuff, that's okay. Yeah. Accept what you did, accept that they mad, but you can still fix it because they still want you.
Yes, they do.
They still want you because it's something in every kid that wants their dad.
Absolutely.
You know, you can say that about, you can say, oh, he a mama's boy, she a daddy's girl. They all daddy's kids.
Okay.
And the thing is, no matter if it's a boy or a girl, man, they gonna cling to daddy because there's something that's in daddy that mama ain't got. Mm-hmm. Mama can't give some of the things that daddy can give,
yeah,
man.
Absolutely right.
And daddy give you some nuggets and some things about being a man that mama can't give you.
Well, I think that's the reason why those kids gravitate towards you.
Right.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Right.
What's the word I'm looking for?
I think they see the protection.
Yeah, that skill set.
Right.
Yeah,
there's
that
something
skill
about
set is
a man.
A match.
I think, you know, like, I feel like, I know for me, that was something that I always wanted growing up without having my dad or even having someone there. But I always looked for someone, like I looked up to my brother, my brother Ron. Right. I always looked up to him because when I was around him, he made me feel safe. Okay. Like when I was around him, I was like, shoot, boy, ain't nobody gonna mess with me today. Or like I always had that sense of security because I felt like that's my older brother. You know, I feel like anybody say something to me, he'll beat him up, whatever. You know, just however I felt. You know, I'm like, I'm safe when he's home. You know, when he's home, I'm like, boy, I ain't got nothing to worry about. But I needed that. I needed that security. So I think that's what a lot of kids really look for. They're looking for that security and that safety. And you can find, you know, that's what they look to us for. That's the man. You know, we are that standard in the home.
That's good. I'm loving that. Oh, so let's move on a little bit. As far as I want to ask you this because you're kind of like an insider. Are there any issues that you notice? I mean, I ain't trying to get you fired for your job.
No, man, you good.
But are there any issues that you notice that are obstacles, issues within the school system that are obstructing development, progression of our kids? Well, anything that you notice?
I mean, one thing that I believe about every kid is that no matter the obstacle that they put in front of you, we have the ability to overcome those obstacles. That's one thing I believe.
That's actually an ancient African proverb, not proverb, but custom. They believe that there's nothing. Well, it's actually spiritual, boys. There's nothing on earth that God can help you overcome. Right. So I agree with you to the fullest. Right. But I'm sorry, man. Go ahead,
I believe that the kids have opportunity and the ability to overcome everything. But I think that in our school system now, we so focus on discipline. And discipline in the sense that, you know, don't write kids up, and you know, you gotta figure out alternative ways to discipline kids now rather than suspending them, which I'm totally for, because I think a kid needs to be at school in order to learn. But you got some behaviors that just can't be tolerated. You know, the fighting on campus, you know, potential gang affiliations, drugs on campus. You know, you got different things that are going on like that on campus, and that just can't be tolerated at all. So I mean, they got things, you know, and this is not just something that a school is doing. This is coming down from the district or from the state. You know, because things like that affect your funding for your school.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that should be attached to funding of the school, but who am I?
Yeah.
I'm just a teacher. So things like that, man, they kind of put a stranglehold on the administration, because the administration got to do what, you know, their leadership tells them to do, and the leadership at the district level has to do what the state tells them to do. So I can see the stranglehold that the administration has and all the things that they do to make sure the kids are successful and have everything they need. Now, one thing I can say about East Side administration, I don't know about no other school in Gainesville, but the East Side administration, man, they do. When I say they love these kids, I mean, they hang out, they talk, they get to know these kids.
Yeah, I've seen a few viral videos.
Yeah, you see it? Yeah, the principals. Yeah, man.
I saw that.
So, you know, they understand these kids and they talk to these kids. These are not just administrators who stay in their office. I barely see these administrators in their office. They're in the hallways.
Wow.
Every time these classes break, they're standing out there at lunch. They eat their lunch standing up, watching the kids eat their lunch. That's how they eat their lunch at East Side.
Dedication, right?
Yeah, man. They at the bus loop in the morning time. They at the bus loop when the kids leave.
Nice.
You know, they greeting them when they get there, telling them goodbye when they leave. You know, so I mean, the administration of the East Side is a little different because they try to do all the preventative things to make sure a kid is getting everything they need, not getting suspended from school. But at the same time, when you got those kids who are coming in classroom and being a total disruption, you know, you got 27, 28 kids in the class, but it's one kid who decide they want to be an idiot today. You got to be able to get rid of that kid and teach the other 27 kids.
Makes a lot of sense.
Because the thing is, you got one that don't want to act right. We got to be able to send him out for the day if he want to fight, if he want to cuss out the teacher, try to fight the teacher. We got to be able to get rid of him and teach the ones that want to learn and get him into an environment to where he can calm himself down and decide that, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to better myself. I want to get my education. And this is the environment I got to get my education in if I don't get my act together.
That's real.
I'm loving that. All right, so keeping the school environment safe and conducive to learning, and I'm all for that too, man. I'm with you on that. I want to talk to you more about some general, more national headlines, politics, that sort of thing.
On that topic, this is something I really wanted to ask you about because I got an email last week from the PAT. From the PT.
Speak for myself in general, you know, and I speak for other things that I've seen as well, such as teacher-student altercations, right? Mm-hmm. I've seen students hit teachers, you know, snatch wigs off, run around the classroom.
Yeah, I saw that on the video. Man.
Yeah, I seen that too. So, you know, you see teachers and students having confrontations all the time. So what happens if you give a teacher a gun after they done had a confrontation with a kid? I mean, because one of the main things for people who carry legally, right? They carry legally. If they're ever in danger, they're able to use their weapon. So if a teacher feels they're in danger, guess what they can use? I don't agree. And you're also putting the responsibility on a teacher that if there's a shooter shooting up the school, right, that it's now the teacher's responsibility to shoot that perpetrator. I don't think that's a good idea either, because who says the teacher's going to be a good shot and not going to shoot one on her own?
Wow.
You know, and not just that, but let's look at the issue of Stoneman Douglas, right? And God bless the families that lost kids in that particular situation. It's definitely a disheartening situation, but that student was a student at that school.
Yes, he was.
So guess what you're asking teachers to do? You're asking this teacher to shoot their own student, right? And that's a decision that some teachers might not be willing to make. Shoot their own student, because you never know the relationship between the student and the teacher. And putting a gun in a teacher's hand, we already have issues with kids bringing guns on weapons, and now you're gonna let teachers bring guns on weapons. You don't know what we got going on in our lives, what kind of stress that we under that particular day. Because some days we come in there, we in a good mood. Some days we in a bad mood and don't feel like dealing with it. Yeah. So I mean, you can't give teachers that. We already got too much responsibility as it is when it comes to educating these kids. Not just with the books that they want us to educate them with, but educating these kids on life and what life is about to bring to them once they graduate this high school level, and partially rearing these kids in some fashion, and making sure these kids are safe just in the classroom environment, making sure these kids are just safe on campus. But under no circumstances, man, should we be carrying a gun. I don't feel safe carrying a gun at no school. Right, I don't feel safe walking around here, carrying a gun locally. Even if I'm, legally able to carry a weapon, I don't feel comfortable doing that. That's not something I feel comfortable doing. Now, if I got a weapon at my home to protect my house, that's my house. Thing, But at my school, nah, man, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't want that responsibility as a teacher because I have enough responsibility already on my plate with the 30 kids I got in my class this period, but I got 5 more periods with 30 kids too. There's no way you can put that kind of responsibility on the teacher. And I mean, the school has done things such as the Alice drill and evacuation drills and things like that to help in those particular situations. And I think we just got to stick to that, man. Because I can see where the Alice drill can be very successful because, for instance, it was one school shooting where the guy came into the classroom and he was just, this was at the university. When he came into the classroom, the doors weren't locked. So he just opened up doors. And the doors that were locked, he didn't even try to force his way into them. He just opened up doors and shot into classrooms where the doors are open. So that's one thing that we practice monthly at Eastside. How you gonna barricade your doors? Make sure your door has to be locked every day, all day at Eastside. If a kid wanna walk into your classroom, they gotta knock. So that's one thing that I think we gotta practice more safety on our end. That's kind of like addressing the issue of the school shootings, but not addressing the violence. We gotta address the violence, man. Like, what does this stem from? We trying to sit here and focus on the person shooting up the school, but we ain't addressing the violence that happens. Like, what happened before the school shooting actually happened that caused this kid to become so violent, caused this individual to want to be violent. So I think that we gotta address the violence before we can address the issue. Is more prevalent. Right. The violence is more prevalent, and the violence comes, first of all, from throwing hands, and this happens at the school, it happens in the streets, it happens in the arguments and the verbal abuse that takes place in the schools, and verbal, physical abuse is eventually going to lead to the gunplay.
You said that.
That's real.
You said that. I want to kind of go back to the importance of us having not just black male teachers, but teachers from our community. I want you to kind of talk to the Darius Demps of old, or just the young man that might be listening to this interview here, 14, 15-year-old kid.
Well,
you kind of just tell him, you just give him some general advice on, why this is so fulfilling to you, as well as the importance of bringing up the next generation to do what you do.
Well, I would first say to that young man, that 14, 15-year-old Darius, man, stop clowning and pay attention, man. Stop clowning and pay attention. I mean,
that's easy said than
done. That 15-year-old Darius was more focused on being a class clown than he was getting his education, man. And stop clowning. Because the thing that I learned about myself later on is that, you know what? I did all of that to impress the girls.
Right.
It wasn't really about just being a clown. I wanted to impress the homeboys and the girls. And I would tell the 15-year-old Darius, man, listen, man, you are there to get your education.
Buckle down.
You can impress the girls and the homeboys outside of class.
Yeah.
You can impress the homeboys and the girls outside of class, but while you in that classroom environment for that 50-minute segment, you got to get in there. You got to be focused for that 50-minute segment. You got to make sure that you're doing everything that you have to do for you to be successful. Now, one thing that I don't tell my kids, I don't tell my kids you got to go to college when you graduate. I don't tell my students that. No. But I tell them all the time, you got 3 choices. And I will tell this young man, 15-year-old Darius, or this 15-year-old that may be listening, these are your 3 options when you graduate. You're either going to go to college, you're going to go to the military, or you're going to get a job.
Straight up.
Those are only 3 options you got.
Straight up.
You got to make a decision what you want to do when you get out of this thing. I mean, a lot of kids like, oh, I want to go to the NBA. Come on, man. Like, we gotta put the hoop dreams are cool.
Yeah.
I'm okay with hoop dreams. I'm okay with NFL dreams or whatever the case may be. But you gotta have a real plan.
Yeah, Obama said it, man.
If hoop dreams work out,
it can't all be LeBron and Lil Wayne.
Man, that's what I'm saying, man. We can't all be LeBron and Lil Wayne. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we gotta have a real solid plan. So you at 15 years old, you still got time. You in 9th, 10th grade. You got time to formulate a plan on what you want to do. So how do you formulate this plan? You get involved. You get involved on campus. There's so many kids who think that the only way to get involved on campus is through a sport. Mm-hmm. Right? They have so many clubs. You know, they got clubs like Pre-Collegiate that go on field trips to different universities every year just to see these different campuses. And you don't even know the type of experience you can have just by being on a different college campus. You know, everybody might say, oh, let's go to University of Florida. University of Florida ain't for everybody. No. You know? And, you know, they got clubs like Black Student Union. They got clubs like the TED Ed Club, you know, where you can actually work on your public speaking skills, which is something that's very important that our kids lacking.
That's the number one phobia.
Yeah, they get in front of people and they sweat, they stutter, they do. I mean, they got clubs and stuff that work on that. They got clubs that teach you about finances and money and budget. They got clubs, so they got robotics clubs where they teach you a whole lot of tech stuff do with your hand. I mean, these kids got race cars look like they built out of Lego blocks, and you know.
I'm assuming that the other black was Rhodes is the teacher.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he has something to do with that. Huh?
No, well, you know what? I don't think Mr. Rhodes even has anything to do with the robotics.
I just wanted to shout him out real quick because y'all got a black technology. What was he teaching?
CTE.
Computer technology teacher.
Hey man,
he has to be heralded. You know?
Listen, man. They say the students love him, man. He legit, man. He legit, man. He definitely he does his thing, man. The administration love him. Everybody love him over there. Cool. But as far as you 15-year-old Darius, you gotta hit your studies, man, and you can't be afraid to do homework. Man, that's one thing that. Oh man, like these kids do not want to do no homework. And guess what? You can't be afraid to read. Like you have to read. Like it's so many things that are in the book that if you just read it, it's there. The book, man. And it don't matter what kind of book it is, man. You know, it don't matter what kind of book it is. Just read something, man, because it when you read, it takes you to a different place. Nice. Like it takes you out of whatever situation you in, and it takes you into whatever's going on and whatever you're reading. And I didn't start reading till I got to college. And I wish I would have started reading early because now, the more and more I read, now I'm like, dang, man, I missed out on so much when I was a kid. Because I could have really been in that comic book right there. I could have really been in that story right there. I could have really been in Harry Potter or Goosebumps when I was a kid, you know. I could have really been in that, you know. And my son likes to read. He's only 10, but he like to read. He don't like to read certain things. You can't just give him any old book and say, oh, I'm going to read that. He want to read what he want to read. And we got to encourage our kids to read. And not just those things, but in addition to that, we got a 15-year-old Darius. You gotta control yourself, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, talk to them about them girls.
Yeah. You gotta control yourself, man. And you gotta control yourself. And I keep saying control yourself because controlling yourself involves so many different things, man. It's controlling your emotions. Mm-hmm. It's controlling what you say out your mouth. Mm-hmm. It's controlling where your hands go. It's controlling what you do with your body. Yeah. And I tell my boys all the time, I say, listen, man, one thing you don't want is you don't want child support. You do not want that.
Testify.
That's one thing you do not want.
Yeah.
And I say the best way to get that is to be right here acting a fool, doing what you do, and thinking that it's cool.
Where were you 20 years ago?
Listen, I'm telling myself because I wish somebody would have told me this 20 years ago.
Where were you?
I wish somebody would have told me this, man.
Boy.
And the thing is that, you know, these guys, man, and when I say get in their emotions, they get in their emotions about everything. I mean, when a teacher says something to them, oh, you tried me. No, we're not trying you. We're trying to tell you the right thing to do. Yeah. Or the girl do something. No, Mr. Demps, she tried me. No, she didn't try you. She just not for you. It's okay. You don't have to hit her because she don't like you no more, or she want to break up with you, or she want to take a break. You ain't gotta hit her.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do that. You first of all, don't ever you need to keep your hands off women, first of all. That's one of the first things. This generation of boys hit girls more than anybody I know. I'd be like, what are y'all thinking about? Like, my mama would have killed me if I even dreamed about putting my hands on a girl. And never put my hands on a girl.
Right.
But in addition to that, man, these guys, these young men and young women, because young women, when I say emotional, oh man, girls are emotional, man. And when I say girls are worse than boys, and I say this because when the girl get mad, she go off. When I say she go off for the old and the new, they uncontrollable when they get mad. Yeah. So you can talk a boy off the ledge. I can talk a boy off the ledge, but a girl, I can't talk a girl off the ledge. She just go. Yeah. And the thing is, after her rage is over, it turns into an emotion of crying. Really don't know how to handle that. Really don't know how to handle that. So you know, everybody, man, the male and the female, they gotta control themselves, man, because. The thing is that people look at your character and they waiting for you to act out of character.
That's real.
And we gotta focus on like the thing that precedes us everywhere we go is gonna be our character, man. You know, we can look good, we can dress good, we can speak good, but what people hear about us, they're gonna hear about how we are as a person, how we are as an individual, how we treat other people. And your character is gonna follow you no matter where you go, man. And one thing about your character is one thing. It's hard to change somebody's opinion about your character. If they feel one way about you, that's gonna be stamped.
That's real.
You know, and it's gonna take a whole lot of work for you to change somebody's opinion about your character. Behaviors can be changed, but your character can't. You can change your behavior, and the one thing that was happening to a lot of kids at a very young age, they being stamped as a bad character kid. You know, and this bad character happens. This starts at Little League football, right?
Yeah. And
then it carries on to middle school, high school, and now, you know, we already know how you gonna act as a ninth grader playing varsity football, because although you great at football, your character gonna always be one thing that's gonna hold you up. Yeah. And I would also recommend that you gotta accept discipline. I mean, kids want discipline, but they want discipline the way they want it these days. They don't want it the way that you're going to give it to them. And they got to accept discipline. They got to accept advice. They got to accept. When I say discipline, I ain't talking about nobody putting their hands on no kids. I'm talking about you speaking wisdom to this kid and the kid receiving it. Because kids think they know everything, man. You can't tell these kids nothing. They think if Google said it is, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like life experiences don't even matter to them no more. They just want to be able to type in the information and get the answer on Google or these little apps that they got to help them figure out math problems now. So and they gotta be willing. Oh man, I gotta definitely say this one.
Go ahead.
I would tell 15-year-old Darius that you gotta work hard for yourself on your own. And here's what I mean when I say on your own.
Unpack that.
When I say on your own, first of all, when it comes to you doing your work, you gotta do your own work.
Yeah.
You do your own work. And when I say you do your own, now if you got to work with a partner, you do your part in that partnership.
Right.
When it comes to group work, you do your part in that group work. But other than that, you do your own work. And I say this because so many kids, they'll do their own work, but then they'll pass it over here to their homeboy who ain't doing nothing, and let their homeboy copy their work. But guess what? You're not helping your homeboy.
Not at all.
You are actually hindering your homeboy. You putting your homeboy at a disadvantage, because guess what's going to happen? A test going to come. And your homeboy going to fail because you let your homeboy copy your work. And you're not a real friend if you let your homeboy copy your work. Now, I used to be the homeboy, used to be copying work.
All right.
So I know this because of the fact that I wasn't successful on those tests in high school. I graduated 2.3 GPA, man. So I graduated 2.3 GPA because I didn't want to do my own work. And I would say do your own work, work hard for yourself, because at the end of the day, when you graduate from high school, you're going to get put out there in that world by yourself.
Absolutely.
And you're going to have to make decisions by yourself with the advice of everybody else. But guess who's going to be left with the final decision? You're going to be left with that final decision. Right. Nobody's going to make that decision for you. You get advice from him. You get advice from you, me. But guess what? At the end of the day, we said 3 different things. You still got to decide for yourself. We all said the same thing. You still got to decide for yourself whether you're going to take our advice or do your own thing.
I love that.
And you gotta, and accept the wisdom, man. People don't tell you stuff because they ain't been through it. people tell you stuff to help you avoid those potholes.
Right.
And a lot of kids want to just learn for themselves. You tell them something, and then they be like, well, I just had to see for myself. Why you got to see for yourself? Like, the whole point is, I'm trying to help you not have to go there.
Right.
I'm trying to help you not have to step in that pothole that I stepped in. I'm trying to help you go further than I went. Because the one thing I tell kids, they be like, man, Ms. Demps, you this, you that. I be like, listen, man, I'm all right, but I want you to be better than me.
That's real.
I tell my son, don't be like me, be better than me.
All right.
I'm a teacher. I got an education. Guess what I want you to do? I want you to be a lawyer. I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be an engineer. I want you to go do greater things than me, man. I want you to be on the same level as me, because the whole point of me is to lay a foundation. You got to build.
Wow.
You got to build, man. I'm the foundation, man. You got to start building this house. You got to start building this mansion on top of me. I'm willing to sacrifice everything that I got right now to lay the foundation for you. And the same thing at the school. I'm sacrificing making more money, because with an economics master's degree, you go make more money doing something else. But the thing is, the sacrifice that the Lord has given me, the desire that He's given me to lay the foundation for kids is way greater than going to make a whole lot of money.
I love that, man.
Because I get a lot. I've had jobs that make more money than what I make now. You know, as a teacher.
Right.
But they didn't give me the fulfillment at the end of the day that I get right now. I didn't get to have the impact daily on kids that I have right now. I didn't get to speak into the lives of those students daily like I get to do right now. I wasn't able to build relationships with kids the way that I build right now. So it was a lot of things that those jobs didn't give me at the end of the day. Yeah, teaching can be draining, but the thing is, it's so fulfilling, man. I went to my first graduation last year, and I was able to participate in graduation. And to see those kids walk across that stage that I was able to help, that I was able to talk to, I was able to mentor, and just be there with for a whole year, I was like, man, you know what? This is what it's all about.
That's fulfillment.
This is what it's all about. Greater than money, greater than time, greater than anything else, man. It was seeing those kids graduate and being like, you know what? I helped that kid.
Ain't nothing like finding your purpose, man. We run out of time. I don't really want to cut you off, but I do want you to real quickly, briefly as you could, any advice or tips for parents of these students? I know that we could do a whole show on that.
Yeah. Quickly for parents, I would say find out who the teachers are. Show up to open house. I barely see parents at open house. Show up to open house, get to know the teachers. Contact the teachers via email. Email is the best way to get in contact with a teacher. We don't answer phones. Follow up with your kid. Make sure see if they got homework. Make sure they studying for the test. Make sure they, own their P's and Q's as far as their behavior goes, man. Just stay involved.
I think one of the biggest indicators of these kids, no matter, and that's one thing I've heard from educators, you correct me if I'm wrong, is the one thing that, one of the biggest factors in having a successful kid is parents being involved.
Right. That's a difference, man.
That transcends economic status, all that.
And
so
you know what I've seen as an educator, and I try not to do this myself, but I've seen favoritism be shown to kids who have an involved parent versus a kid who doesn't have an involved parent. Because they know they're going to be held accountable. I'm with you on that, Because the involved parent, you can call them and they're going to take care of business. But the one that you trying to call and they ain't answering the phone or they ain't getting back with you, they kid going to get a little different treatment. They're going to have a shorter leash than the kid who has an involved parent. They're going to have a lot longer leash.
Well, hey, man, we got to get out of here, run out of time. Real quick, you got any announcements, events anything like that?
I don't got anything going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah, man, that was some good talk today, boy.
Yes,
Some grown man talk.
Appreciate it, man. Feel free, man. We definitely got to have you come back through, man. You know what I mean? Anytime, you know what I'm saying? You feel the need or anything that's going on in the community, we definitely would love to highlight it here.
Absolutely.
Hey, keep it locked right here, man. Don't go nowhere, y'all. Keep it locked. WBT 90.1 FM The Beat. I got Mr. Darius Demps coming through for today, man, and as well as young minister, my homie, Mr. Shaw Ray. Real quick before I get out of here, man, shout out to church real quick, man.
Greenhouse Church,
Greenhouse,
Gainesville, Florida.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know you went there, man. Cool, man. All right, hey, keep it locked right here, y'all. Hold on, good one, man. Dad, can we talk 2 o'clock every Saturday? You. My bad, man. I gotta play some commercials real quick.
That's good, man.
Nah, man, you did your thing, bro.
Yeah, man.
I really appreciate it.